Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Max wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a Tap Sheltered Thicket. Will draws and plays a Flooded Strand, cracking it and losing 1 to find a land. Arj's turn has him playing a Forest, and then casting a Caustic Caterpillar. Maria's got a Forest as well, but she casts a Llanowar Elves and passes to Max. Max's turn 2 starts off with him drawing, and then copying Maria, playing a Forest and casting his own Llanowar Elves. Will's got a Bountiful Promenade, and pays 2 for a Dustshell Crawler, putting the counter onto itself. He passes after that. Arj has got a Forest, and casts Culling Dais. He then pokes Max for 1 with the Caterpillar, and passes. Maria's got a Command Tower, and brings out Serah Farron, and passes. Max draws, playing a Rootbound Crag, and casting Smuggler's Copter. He then casts a House Cartographer. Max then taps the Cartographer to crew up the Copter, revealing until he hits a land, which is a Forest in this case, and puts the rest on the bottom in a random order. Will's got a Gavining Township return, and pays 3 for an Eternal Witness, returning the Flooded Strand back to his hand. He then pokes Arj with his Dustshell Crawler, and passes. Arj's got a Forest, and casts Yavimaya Dryad. He then gets another Forest, and passes. Maria's got a Plains return, and casts Selvala, Eager Trailblazer. She then casts Sarah Jane Smith, and makes a Mercenary. She then declares she'll move to combat, and at the beginning of combat, since she controls 2 other legendary creatures, she transforms Serah Farron into Crystallized Serah. Max has got a Mech Hanger, and he casts Balthier and Fran. He then follows up with Magda, and crews the Copter with a Cartographer again. Going to combat, Max swings the Copter at Maria, getting to loot a card, and she takes 4. In his second main phase, he gets the Cartographer trigger, revealing until he hits a land. Will replays that Flooded Strand we saw, cracking it to get a Temple Garden, and has it come in untapped and takes 2. He then plays out Felothar, and as it comes in, sacrifices the Eternal Witness to give his team a +1/+1 counter. Will then hits Arja for 2 with the Crawler, and passes. Arja just draws, plays a Forest, and casts Yedora. Maria's turn has her playing a tapped Temple Garden, and then casting Flowering of the White Tree. She makes a clue off of Sarah Jane Smith, and then casts Arwen, Weaver of Hope. Going to combat, Maria sends Sarah Jane Smith at Max, who takes the hit. After that, Maria passes, with Max crewing up the Smuggler with Magda to make a treasure token during the end step. Max's turn has him playing a Wooded Foothills, sacrificing it and losing 1 for a Forest. He then crews the Smuggler's Copter with Balthier and Fran and the Cartographer, and sends it at Maria twice with the extra combat step. This has Max getting to loot twice, and Maria taking 8, and Max then gets a Stomping Ground from the Cartographer in his second main phase, thanks to its survival trigger. Max then plays a Defiant Survivor, and passes. Will draws, and plays a Nature's Lore, going to find an Overgrown Tomb, and has it come in untapped and takes 2. He then casts Champion the Lambholt, and passes. During the end step, Arja sacrifices Yavimaya Dryad to the Culling Dais, which hits the graveyard, and then comes back as a Forest thanks to Yedora. Arja draws, and then goes to draw again in green with an Abundant Harvest, naming non-land. He reveals until he hits a Sharp-Eyed Rookie, which he then casts after he reveals it. He then plays a Forest return, and casts an Elvish Mystic. Going to combat, Yedora goes at Max, with Max taking the hit for 5. Arja then passes, with Maria cracking her clue during the end step to draw a card. Maria casts Galta and Mavrin in her main phase, which has Arja responding to the spell in the stack by sacrificing Caustic Caterpillar and destroys the flowering of the White Tree. And once that's done, Will then cast Deadly Rollick, targeting Arwen. Maria then pumps Sarah Jane with the Mercenaries, and sends her at Arja, and Selvala goes at Max, with the dinosaur that Galta and Mavrin make going at Arja as well. Arja chump blocks Sarah Jane with the Elvish Mystic, and then sacrifices the Culling Dais. The Mystic comes back as a forest, and no one else blocks. And after that, Maria passes, and during her end step, Max once more uses Magda to crew up a vehicle to make a treasure token. Max draws and plays a forest, and he casts Hammer of Perforos, and then a Goliath truck. He then crews the copter and the truck with the survival creatures, and sends the copter at Maria and the truck at Will. Max puts the 2 counters onto the copter, and then loots a card, and Maria and Will then take their hits. In his second main phase, Max then gets a mountain off the cartographer, and then manifests Dread. Once that's all done, he casts Vandal Blast to destroy Crystallized Serah, and passes. Will draws but has nothing to do, and has to pass. During the end step, Arja sacrifices the Culling Dais to draw 2 cards, and we move to Arja's turn. Arja draws and plays a High Market. He then casts a Giant Adaphage, which grows the Sharp-Eyed Rookie. He then passes turn. Maria draws, plays a Sun Petal Grove, and recasts Serah, which is one of the benefits of having a cheap casting commander. She then goes to combat, and transforms Serah again, sending Galta and the dinosaur at Arja, as well as the new dinosaur she makes at Arja as well. Arja's ready with a Fog though, preventing the damage, and Maria passes. Max has a Den of the Bugbear in his main phase, and crews up his vehicles once more. He sends the Goliath truck at Will, and the Smuggler's Copter at Maria again, once more putting the counters onto the copter, and then paying 3 for an extra combat step thanks to his commander. Will responds though with an Ink Shield to prevent the damage going to him, and Maria takes 8. This has Will then making 5 Inkling tokens, which he puts 5 +1/+1 counters onto the Champion of the Lambholt. Max then moves to a second combat step, and he sends the truck at Arja and the copter at Maria again. Arja takes the hit, and Maria takes 10 more, and Max then moves to a second main phase. He gets his survival triggers, revealing until he hits a land, and then manifesting Dread. He follows up by playing a Brea's Apprentice, and passes to Will. Will draws, and his main phase has him casting a Winding Constrictor. He then sends an Inkling at Maria, and the rest at Max. He sacrifices an Inkling to Felothar, and gives his team 2 +1/+1 counters, and takes Max and Maria out. After combat, Will then casts Assassin's Trophy, destroying the Giant Adaphage, which comes back as a forest, and we then move to Arja's turn. Arja draws, and plays a Momentous Fall, sacrificing Yedora to draw some cards. He then continues to draw some cards with a Wall of Blossoms. He follows it up with a Forest, and then casts a Topiary Stomper, going to find another one as it enters. Will draws and casts Corpsejack Menace in his main phase, and then swings out at Arja. Unable to block thanks to the Champion of the Lambholt's ability, plus the trample granted from the Dustshell Crawler even if he had an answer, Arja's unable to stop it, and gets taken out, with Will winning the game. Game review time. This was a swingy one, and probably could have done with at least one board wipe, but unfortunately for everyone, except for Arja, their boards were so big and beefy and just attacking and over again, that there wasn't much else to do except for try and survive. That meant surprisingly the 2 fogs in this game were probably one of the more relevant cards, with Inkshield probably being the MVP in my opinion. It gave Will an army to sacrifice to Felothar, plus flying creatures that then got pumped by all of his various +1/+1 counters and doublers and so forth and so on, and just got out of control. I was surprised though. I thought Maria had this game in the bag considering how big her legendaries were, and how many sweet dinosaurs she was getting from Mavrin and Galta. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers. and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.